specialist games team might be leakier than a fucking rusty sieve, but it'll tell you what's not leakier than a rusty sieve is another episode of the Argle Talk podcast.
I'll be honest with you, we're kind of leaky sometimes.
NDA, more like ND's nuts.
We do what we can.
Your nuts cease to satisfy.
Which I find hard to believe.
Oh,
I mean, I don't know if you're not satisfied with these nuts anymore. I don't know what to tell you. Like, you got a fucking problem, man.
Yeah, you're gonna be chasing that dragon for the rest of your life.
Fucking Moby Dick.
More than a handful of waste, dude.
Moby D's nuts, like, those nuts are my white whale. God damn it.
I mean, after seeing you in those pants this weekend, I already know what my white whale is.
Man, I'm still wearing them.
What we determined is that Jake's milkshake, in fact, does bring the boys to the yard.
Oh no! Is it
and
story
they're like,
time?
it's better than yours. Damn right.
Is it story time?
I think it's story time.
We're all hanging out in the murder shed this weekend. You know, shooting the shit, doing what we do, and I'm wearing some somewhat revealing long pants, and we were joking about them and how tight they are, and like, yeah, I think when I bought them they may or may not have been women's pants. I don't know, but I don't care because they're comfy as fuck. And you know, they're talking about how my bussy is my best attribute, and kind of, you know, doing my thing and showing them off. And then my fucking neighbor from behind comes just walking over and starts talking.
Yeah,
to
like
us.
Not even a minute later.
It was like 15 to 25 seconds later. As soon as I said bussy, he came running, and was asking us if we were playing Dungeons and Dragons. To which I said, close enough.
And then I straight thought he had thrown a grenade in there with us. And he had found a baseball and was like, "Here you go. You guys play other games, so I assume this baseball is clearly yours."
Yeah. Jesus. So I don't know, man. It's like, yeah, that game, that you know, that just keeps going, doesn't it? I'm like, yep, nope, the fun never ends. He's like, well, it ends at some point. I'm like, okay,
like,
great.
Yeah, that was called 8th edition.
Yeah, we said it, Matt. We said it.
7th ed.
Stay mad forever. So yeah, that was story time. You know,
Jake was talking about his pussy, and the neighbor came over to try to check his birth certificate. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yep,
pretty much.
Pretty much.
So what have you guys been working on in the hobby the past however long? However long it's ostensibly been.
Yeah, my hobby sabbatical of 1 week has ended. I finally figured out what I wanted to do with the last Reaver that I had in that Titanicus starter box. I knew I was going to make him Legio Interfector just to round out a 2,000 point list, but I didn't know what I wanted to load him out with. I finally decided on basically the loadout that Matt had in the game we played, where I gave him a laser blaster, volcano cannon, and then top hat apocalypse missiles. But what makes it fun is it turns out I actually had to do this because I already used all the heads that came in that box on my Warbringer and then on the trophy for my other Reaver. So I didn't have a head, but I knew I wanted to make him warp conduit corrupted. So I took, I think, a 50 millimeter base. Honestly, I think it might be a little too big. I might have to use a smaller base. But I put some green stuff tentacles on it and painted in kind of a warp color swirly kind of deal, and that's like the portal directly through the warp with shit coming out of it as his warp conduit. Pretty pleased with how that turned out.
I saw it was pretty good. I saw a picture of it. Neat. Hey Morty, I turned our Titan into a warp conduit. You've done it bright green.
Gotta put it up your butt now, Morty. Gotta put it way up in your butt.
Gotta put those apocalypse missile launchers way up inside your butthole.
I can't do it, Morty. I've done it too many times. But you're young. Your anus is still malleable.
It'll bounce right back.
So, you know, once again, can't make it through fucking 5 minutes of conversation without bringing a butthole into it. That's the kind of pulse-pounding content
Jake,
we go through.
Show me your asshole.
Show me.
Drop that bussy.
All credits to Fly Young Red for the song "Throw That Boy Pussy."
No.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
my
There,
body is uncomfortable.
Anyway, so that's what I've been doing as far as that. While I await for the Warhound Titan in 28 mil scale that I've ordered, which I'm excited about that. Whenever it gets here, it's going to be a long process. But Ben had printed a 28 mil scale Ursus Claw for me like several months ago, so I finally decided to get my shit together and get one of those.
Make
Hopefully,
sure
it'll
to
be here this week.
magnetize it.
Oh, 100%. Well, I don't know. I think I will all. Well, yeah, I probably will.
Well,
Yeah.
I just meant that the I would definitely, if I get another Warhound, I'm going to magnetize it. The one that I got was pre-built, so I didn't get a chance. But I will definitely magnetize it. But also, that just in case something gets broken on that thing, it's
Sure.
easier
Yeah.
to replace.
Got your Titan owner certificate coming with it.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I don't know. I've been
Good.
promising myself a Titan for about 6 years. Maybe this winter I will make my dreams come true and get a Titan finally.
Get a Titan for Christmas.
You can finally join the Titan Owners Club.
Yeah, but if I'm gonna get one, I'm gonna get biggest Titan because biggest Titan is best Titan.
Biggest
That is a
Titan best
fact.
Titan.
What's the Latin word for wife? Because that's what I'm gonna name it. Because biggest wife is best wife. Here, let's look this up. The Latin word for wife.
Matrimonious or matrimonia or something like that. Like it had something to do with wedding because that's just how Latin works.
Yeah. Plus matron, all that shit. Yeah, being word. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know if matronly is a word you want your wife to hear you describe her as.
No, well, trying. Currently, I'm getting nothing. Uxor.
Okay, there you go.
UXOR.
Oh yeah, like the psychic lowly waifus in Legion.
Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like Dan Abbott knows what he's talking about sometimes or something.
Maybe a
I
little
now know
too
what
well.
Maybe a little
I
too
now
well.
I'm gonna name if I get that warlord like I want. Maxima Uxor. That's right, biggest wife.
Astoria Maxima.
Yeah, there you go.
Because it actually kind of sounds like a Titan name too.
And it's just enough garbage Latin to
Get
really
by.
seal it.
Yeah.
For those unfamiliar with that joke, it's a caveman joke. For those in the podcast, if my wife ever hear this and think that I'm saying something disparaging.
Yeah, Gray's got a hedge a little bit now.
Yeah.
So yeah, as far as me, I haven't really been working on too much hobby related the past couple weeks because most of that time was taken up by going to Adepticon, which was a blasty blast. Had had some classes. Took Cast Shadows class with Eric Swinson and took Advanced Skin Tones with Elizabeth Beckley. So two pretty bucket list classes for me. Had fun with those. Hung out, sampled some games, looked at Golden Demon, bought some shit that I probably didn't need. Lost my shit at the Horus Heresy cinematic. Yeah, it was a good time all around. It was exhausting though. I'm just now getting recovered from it a week later. It was
Enter it.
a good time.
I thought that cinematic was neat, but I don't understand Horace's drinking straw in his nose.
Well, we'll get to that. How about you and Ben? What have you guys been working on?
I haven't been working on too terribly much. I did get that Titanicus starter box. I pulled it out. Of what?
The You mean like the actual starter box, or your like trunk full of Titanicus that we colloquially referred to as enough to get you started?
No, yeah,
Well,
he had an actual starter box in there. I
Okay.
saw it.
Yeah, one of the things we pulled out of the storage unit was the starter box.
Okay. Well,
So I grabbed that from the trunk, and I got all of that primed, and I did a little bit of just a little bit of zenithal shading on it, but not much because everything's still on sprue. I'm still kind of juggling a couple of legios that I'm tempted to paint. It's a mix between, or I'm fighting between which color scheme I like most and want to actually paint, and what's got rules that I think that I'll enjoy playing.
Well, funny you should mention that, Ben, because that's what we're going to be talking about today.
Oh well, shit.
Surprise.
But yeah, that's about all I've been working on.
How about you, Gray?
Oh, so I have been working on finishing up some commissions,
As always.
and on top, on always separate
Biggest
commission.
workload is best workload.
Biggest
workload is best
commission is best commission.
I will say, I enjoy the variety of things I get to do from commissions, but sometimes commissions are large enough to the point that they are physically exhausting.
So what you're saying is
but
biggest
I will-
commission is not always best commission, and is therefore heresy.
Yeah, go
I
have
don't know,
sex
man.
with a heterosexual female.
Queer.
Yeah, that sounds like liberal bullshit. Biggest commission is best commission. But some who took me that liberal bullshit. But I put pictures up in the in our Discord. For myself personally, I finished my dreadnought for my destroyer company list. That will probably be defunct in months, but it's still a dreadnought.
I dig the stripe that he's got.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I
trying
mean,
something kind of new.
Can we say destroyer companies defunct when it was never like real rules to begin with?
Yeah, I'm sure the Mournival guys will work over, or maybe not work overtime, but they'll get all that sorted because that stuff's like all those guys
Yeah.
use at least the rules, and they.
That's kind of what I mean. Is there'll be a gap in there where it won't be fully compatible necessarily. But yeah, no, I've been working on playing with different ways to highlight black, and I think I'm going to stick with teal as my highlight for black
It's pretty
throughout
solid
that.
pick.
I feel like not enough people do teal highlights with black. Most people kind of gravitate towards, well, it's black. Let me either edge highlight it really hard with white, or do a soft gray over it, which then kind of comes out dusty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, fuck gray, honestly.
I mean,
fuck gray in particular, you might say.
Yeah. That guy, I mean, that color, I mean, what?
I second this. All comers welcome, but
well, I mean, so I hear you in regards to not getting to play with your new toys that you're working on painting, but at the same time, you'll have a whole new legion to play with, essentially.
yeah. And realistically, other than the heavy destroyers that I've put together, everything else in that list is still usable in a regular bog standard Horus Heresy game.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm super missing out necessarily. I just am excited to run this list and all the war crimes it entails.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll get at least one in before the edition drops, or even after, if we have to. Nobody says we have to play 2.0 immediately.
Yeah, no, your Age of Darkness 1.0 rules are not going to go away after the new edition comes out. If you don't like it, you can continue to play the old one.
Fair enough.
But I have a feeling we're going to like it.
Yeah.
It's a bold assumption, but I'll allow it.
It is bold.
And
I'm excited for it. Kind of been me.
Well, you mentioned a pick of the week. You want to tell us what that is?
Yeah, my pick of the week, in case you guys missed it, is on April 1st here, Games Workshop announced squats are unsquatted. And they are coming back later this year as a full playable faction in Warhammer.
With their suitably copyright distinct name.
Yeah, what is it, the Legion of Volton or whatever? I don't know.
Something like that.
It's a silly ass name, but it's squats.
Yeah, it's
Now
a
they have
silly ass name, but it's silly ass faction in a silly ass game. So
right, and I'm hoping they embrace the silly fully and bring back both the war trikes and like the weird like steam engine looking tanks that they'd had way back in Rogue Trader era. That's what I really want to see come back. Like the big old fucking long handle ape hangers on the fucking trike with like guns hanging off the side of it. That's what I want to see.
I'm sure that they'll bring it back suitably ugly enough to make all the grognards angry and simultaneously not get anybody new to play the faction. I'm sure they'll hit that nail right on the head.
I don't know. I want to see some squats. I'm into it. The one model they have previewed, I like the look of them. It's got enough Imperial elements to look up to date. It's got enough of the aesthetic for 9th edition to fit in. That because the Imperial stuff is moving towards everything kind of looking like the Primaris kind of vibe, that
Which,
kind of clean vibe.
to clarify for those listening at home, like, yes, the video was released on April Fools, but then they came back and confirmed no, really, that was real.
Yeah.
It was the old double fake out.
the double fool.
The double fool. So
Biggest
I
fool is
am
best fool.
Which is weird because they're space dwarves.
Yeah. So I mean, it just
But no,
confirms they'll never be the best because they're not the biggest.
fair. Unless we haven't seen a scale necessarily. Maybe they're on 50s. Maybe biggest dwarf is best dwarf.
Oh, no.
I've seen some projections where people are like, oh, based on whatever other thing and other pictures, where they have them like slightly smaller than firstborn Marines, but slightly taller than like Cadians.
Yeah, it's fine by me. I'm into it.
Who knows?
Either way, squats are unsquatted because what they had done to them when they got rid of them was fucking awful. This one day they weren't in the game anymore, and they're like, "Yeah, what happened?" Oh yeah, we went back and changed the fluff. They never were in it, and in fact were the first things to get eaten by Tyranids. Oh, thanks, guys.
Gaslit the fuck out of everybody.
Yeah, there were never squats. What are you talking about?
Well, now that they have squats, GW just needs to release a line of yoga pants.
Yeah.
Into it.
I thought you were gonna say fishmen, but yeah, that too.
I want to see the big one of those things that are the tower aligned to. They're supposed to be like psychic polar bears or something. The ship.
Sure.
There's some space race that all they do is pilot ships, and they're big ass like 6-legged polar bears, some shit. I mean, whether or not you're excited for 40K or not, which in general I don't enjoy it half as much as I enjoy Heresy. Squat models are squat models, and there's no reason why. Presumably, unless militias change to some kind of way where you don't have that kind of abhuman helot feel to it, or they get an official model line, there's no reason you couldn't use them as militia.
Oh man, there are some people that are losing their ever loving shit over that model. Oh my god, like some real bad takes. I'm like, okay, I get it, but they're just squats. Like it's not like they haven't already existed in various ways, shapes, and forms in the game. Just it'll be fun. The jury's still out whether or not it's going to be a full line release or how full of a line it's going to be, but it looks like it's going to be a whole new faction.
But yeah,
I mean, if it's his own faction, yeah. Plus, they've already had like a modern squat model already for Necromunda, so it's not like
don't they have two?
That maybe.
Don't they
have
have
the precedent is there?
Yeah, oh yeah, I think they've got 2 models in Necromunda and 2 models in Blackstone.
The Warhammer community article said it was going to be a whole new faction.
Yeah. Okay,
So,
well then I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I think it looks fine. It'll be interesting to see what they, what they bring back from the olden days of squats. Like the trikes, the exosuits and shit like that.
Oh yeah, I need in my life. Let me kill Mister on a motorcycle, and I feel like squats will deliver that.
They have Mr. What on a motorcycle?
Lemmy.
Lemmy.
Oh
Lemmy, yeah. Lemmy. It'll be your new bike army, biker squats.
God
Hell
damn it.
yeah.
Jesus
The Ace
Christ.
of Spades.
Yeah. So I mean, good or bad stuff coming to a game shop near you soon. Who else has got?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a fairly small one outside of course, the Adepticon trailer, which is kind of old news by this point, but that's pretty cool. But I happened upon on Instagram a fella going by Mavericks Paint. Maybe he's a big deal. I've never heard of him before, but I don't hear a lot of people. Made some like Melta victims, and they're these like one of them's like half marine torso, and then spilling out of him is this skeleton after just being hit by a Melta weapon, and guys that are just have their faces and backpacks melted. It's pretty cool.
Oh
Okay,
yeah,
I
I've
saw
seen that.
those. Those look really cool.
Super cool. I'm
Yeah.
into it.
I've heard of that guy before.
And he
Yeah,
does some pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm just a sucker for all things melting and all things skeletons. So
So my pick of the week was gonna be the cinematic trailer because I was just gonna talk about it, but since that's old news, I guess we don't need to talk about that.
you can talk about it. We haven't heard you.
I mean,
Yeah.
I just was gonna talk about that it was fucking cool, and like
It was.
whatever. Like that's all I needed. That's all I needed out of a cinematic was for it to be cool.
Oh, it
I mean,
was in fact cool.
And
Well,
moving the heresy timeline forward a bit.
My favorite thing about the trailer was all the 40K players who were completely confused as to what the hell it was. Is this a video game? Is this a TV show?
Yeah,
Man.
it was I mean that I don't know if that says something more about them or about the Games Workshop marketing on the Horus Heresy, but it says something.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I mean, their marketing is, as someone who works in marketing, like their marketing system is ridiculous. Like it is such a niche community that it markets to into itself. It's like they don't even try to get to the outside world. They just
Fair.
they expect you to kind of understand everything coming into it. It's asinine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know that I knew what all the Titan weaponry sounded like until I knew what the Titan weaponry sounded like now, and I don't need to go back to those days before when I didn't know what Titan weaponry sounded like.
The honestly the best part of that little cinematic to me was the little was the Tatooine shot of the fucking warlord walking with the sun behind
Oh
it. Like
yeah.
That's
that
cool
was
as shit.
sweet.
That was pretty cool.
I might have
I
to
don't know.
change my pants just thinking about it.
Yeah.
I don't know about the straw thing. The nose straw thing, of course, was kind of odd, but
Okay, yeah,
Nah.
the one thing that I'll nitpick a little bit because that's what this is nitpicking. I'll admit it.
yeah.
But there's the tendency for like chaos corruption to affect your voice to sound like you're just gargling mucus, and I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of that, especially for Horus. Maybe if you put it on Angron or someone, it makes sense. But
Yeah.
or even like Abaddon in the 41st millennium. But I feel like Horus should still sound like Horus even at his peak.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
I
I
mean,
feel
I
like
think I don't know. I think it's kind of like what you were talking about last time, Eric, with John French of like, yes, Horus is bad guy because he sound like bad guy,
Yeah.
but being bad guy does not make you bad guy. Like,
No. John French wants you to know that being bad guy definitely makes you be bad guy.
see, well, that's kind of well, I kind of agree with you. Like, there's something to be said, especially in the Horus Heresy, for maybe your bad guys don't all look like 40K bad guys yet.
So what I'll say this, and it is piggybacking again off of John Francis Slaves to Darkness, is Horus spends basically that whole book just getting fucked, basically, like in the warp. The gods are fighting over his soul and all that. But once he comes out of it, like the description and the vision and impression that you get of him is like very much chaos powered, but still at the same time, a huge force, physically, personality wise, like, and the my father is going to pay. It doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah, I was surprised by the voice acting pick for that, but
But like I said, nitpick. It
yeah.
very much is. The rest of it was shit hot.
Did he seem a little short, maybe, compared to that regular Marine guy? I don't know.
I don't know. I think
Nah,
it was fine.
yeah.
Again, overall, I'm good with it.
The
My
voice didn't even bother
problem-
me. I just wish that they had animated his face a little bit better.
Yeah.
That was really my only nitpick. Everything else looked fucking good, but his face looked like it was from the Ultramarines movie.
Sure. I'll say, in general, I'm down and I liked it. A small, I don't know if it's a nitpick or not. I guess it's a nitpick, but this is just more me bitching about Mark 6 armor and heresy. Is why was absolutely everybody in Mark 6, no exceptions.
Well, if you listen to the Remembrance Retreat newest episode about that, they'll tell you exactly why.
Why would I do that?
Just
Yeah.
saying.
I'm edit that out.
No.
I don't even listen to our podcast.
I don't.
I mean,
I did.
I'm
living
forced to because I got to edit this shit.
I did listen to the podcast, and the big roundabout explanation is that this armor pattern was already in full production before the start of the heresy. There you go. Just
Yeah.
end conversation.
We just saved you an hour.
Yep, full production of Mark 6 had begun before the outbreak of the heresy.
Okay. Well, but even given that, I thought like in the books somewhere, like Horus specifically was like, "Yeah, give that shit to the Raven Guard. This sucks.
I
We don't
mean,
want this."
the real answer is because of their marketing for the materials that they'll soon to be releasing potentially.
Yeah. I mean, I get that. Yeah,
It ain't that deep.
it ain't that deep. Yeah, but like I said, that's again, like, so it's kind of a nitpick because in the end, it's going to be one. They don't want to make it's cheaper to have one model of armor rather than 6 models of armor all flopping together around. You don't have to
Actually, well,
build one.
not everyone was in Mark 6 armor. You know who wasn't in Mark 6 armor? The Warlord Battle Titans.
No, the guy piloting was definitely in Mark 6 too. I bet.
Also, were the Praetors?
Well, the
Yeah.
Praetors are in Mark 6. Yeah.
I mean,
Were there?
yeah, they do have beaky. They're the one guy has a beaky helmet.
I was talking
Yeah,
about
they're
the guy with like the rebreather for the Sons of Horus.
Well, yeah, there's another scene
Yeah.
showing that
Yeah.
guy with his helmet on, and it is a beaky helmet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Also, I think his legs do the Mark 6 thing, don't they?
I mean,
The
it's just,
where there's no pad, the greave just comes up above the knee rather than have a knee pad.
something like that.
I'd have to look at the picture again to be honest.
Well,
Anyways, yeah.
doesn't
But,
bother
anyway,
me. And if the leaks of if the leaked pictures of the models are any indication, it doesn't look like the models are so like fuck huge in comparison to the Mark 4s and 3s that are already in plastic.
yeah, I mean,
And
certainly they're not like. I mean, if the leaks are to be believed, and we get the Terminators that by all accounts seem to be the same, it's not like the Mark 6 guys are towering over those either.
No, so I will certainly have no problem with mixed units and mixed squads.
No, me neither.
But
Do you guys mix armor marks in your squad? This is completely going off topic. Do you guys mix armor marks in your squads?
Yeah.
sometimes depends.
Depends on the squad. My Emperor's Children generally not, unless I'm running like a 20-man blob, and that's all I got. Oh, my black shields are mixed on purpose, as are my ultramarine little tiny side project.
Oh yeah, my black shields was your black shields. Yeah, I mixed them like on the marine. Like each marine had mixed armor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it makes total sense for them. It makes sense for anyone, of course. Can't gatekeep. But yeah, I was just wondering if that was like a thing you guys did, because
I mean,
I
like,
tend not to, but I'm not morally opposed to the idea. You know.
like my
So my
Blood
salamanders
Angels
are all Mark IV, I think.
Yeah, like my White Scar, they're all Mark II except for the Javelin pilots.
But
'cause
like,
that's just what they came with.
but I built my salamanders when Calth came out, so of course they're all Mark IV. My Space
Yeah.
Wolves are like that was when Prospero came out, and I had some of the Mark IVs from Calth, got the Mark IIIs with Prospero. Then I had shit left over, so I was bashing those together into like a pseudo Mark V, and like to me it makes sense because as the various packs get damaged or repaired, people die, your units get reabsorbed into others, but you still keep your armor. But the Space Wolves are all very unique and individualized anyway, so having those disparate looks in the squads just makes sense to me.
sure. Seems
Like-
sensible.
my Blood Angels are somewhat Siege of Terra themed, and so like my assault squads are very mixed because it's just kind of like, all right, well, you got what you got, and go forth. So I've got Mark II all the way up to some Mark VII in my assault squads, just like mixed in there.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, I think that the end of the day is do use what you like, and if you like Mark VI and you think it'll look good in fucking Death Guard white, then fucking go for it, and don't let anybody tell you otherwise, because fuck them.
Yeah.
But I'm glad you guys all had so much to say about my pick of the week. I'm happy for the assistance in the conversation.
You got feedback, right? Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was great. It was much hype when I was there seeing it. I'm glad that I wasn't actually in the hall seeing it. I was kind of like hearing it secondhand because I had partaken at that point and probably would have made a scene.
Yeah, the last thing you need is to be high and then start making a scene in front of a whole bunch of people in a room.
Yeah. No,
Lest you start talking about some stuff that shouldn't be talked about.
I mean,
Yeah, that sounds like it'd make for a catastrophic evening.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was 4 more nights for that. I had time.
We're not trying to rag on you.
Nah.
Nah. Yeah.
But yeah.
So-
I think Ben, I think. Do you have a pick of the week?
No, I don't.
Well, great. So I don't suppose anybody has a miss. I feel like that cinematic talk was kind of hybrid, hit and miss.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that my continuing pick of the week is going to be anything Heresy 2.0 related until we get a release, and then that will be my pick of the week for a little while.
For several weeks.
Yeah, probably. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if you know what, I will expand on that a little bit. I have been seeing a lot of communication on various social medias about second ed. A lot of it. I mean, some of it is it is still the Warhammer community, so some of it is negative. That people take the leaks or the playtest stuff that we've kind of seen, and they're running with it, thinking that it's the God's truth. And so, of course, some people get either really excited or kind of bummed out that things are happening. But like for the most part, it's a lot of positive communication about it. So I'm really excited to see how the community can grows from this. I think that Heresy is going to explode when the second edition comes out. There's some bad that comes with that, but I think it's going to be good overall.
Yeah.
Oh, Yeah.
All right. Well, so do we want to roll on into the topic for this week?
We have a topic this week?
Yeah,
I
we
thought we were
do.
just gonna
We sure
talk.
do. Well, Eric, why don't you tell us about the topic that we're apparently surprising Ben with?
Yeah, so obviously there is a recurring theme we've done in the past about units and rights of war and things. Well, there at this time there's no telling how any of that is going to age. So we're probably going to stay away from rules talk for a while. But what we can talk about that's not going to change is another heresy topic and another game system that's close to mine and hopefully several of our hearts is Adeptus Titanicus. That's right, we're one of those podcasts now. We do that too. Um, so obviously, Jake and I have been polluting the hobby talk with talks of our Titans for quite some time, and I've been needling on these guys to get their stuff together so we can start playing regularly. And once we came across the windfall of things that Ben had in his storage unit, he's starting to get a little on board with it as well. Uh, but the thing that eludes a lot of people, and what we're gonna hopefully try and steer Ben and others on the right path to today is picking a legion to actually play. Now, Titanicus is one of those games where your army pick is a big deal for sure, but in a lot of cases, it's not everything. But it is still something that you want to have in mind. And Titanicus has a pretty good system of diversity in rules sets, as well as something that Heresy doesn't have necessarily in the creation, more or less, of your own armies. So what we're gonna do today is, kind of walk Ben through the process of kind of going through, seeing what he likes to do, what he wants to do, what kind of colors he likes, and hopefully we can pick something for help him pick something, or uh, help him create a legio of his own if that's what he desires.
So we're doing this with the knowledge of Ben having a veritable troll hole of fucking titans and knights and Titanicus materials to be able to pull from. But I think this could just as easily be applied to somebody looking to get into the game and not really sure what to purchase,
Oh,
because
like
your choice of yeah, just like Gray, your choice of Titan can, I mean, it's important, but it's more important like how you want to use them, because any Legio can make use of any kind of Titan or weaponry, but it does help to know.
Well, Audax.
Well, okay, fine. Yeah, there are exceptions to that rule, or exceptions that prove the rule that some legios make better use of some types of titans and weaponry than others. So hopefully that'll mean that somebody out there looking to get into Titanicus but not really sure what they want to do, with just maybe they have a favorite color in mind, maybe they have a favorite titan, or maybe they just really fucking like turbo lasers. Well, who uses turbo lasers well? Well, we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, so what I've done for the start is I have sort of four categories of uh, for legions, right? So we've got sort of shooty combat firepower, melee combat firepower, defensive titans, and just sheer flexibility. But I think, honestly, perhaps one of the least important questions, but still kind of one that you can help base off, is Ben, do you prefer the loyal side or the traitor side?
Um, Probably loyalist.
All right, so that does knock about half of them down to making a decision. And what I've actually found is it definitely skews a couple different ways, just on what each side does. There's a lot more defensive loyal legions than there are traitor, and there's a lot more combat focused traitors than there are loyalists. But
Like close combat.
Well, just combat in general, just legios that have rules. I did originally have these in those four categories, but there are zero loyalist legions that put a significant emphasis on melee combat.
Yeah.
So from there, like, what kind of play style do you look for? I mean, I know you play Space Wolves and Heresy. Is that kind of the same, kind of aggressive, or you
Well,
think something that's more flexible, something that's more defensive? You
I
have a
like
specific weapon type?
I don't have any specific weapon type. I like versatility. I like I like being able to be reasonable in most aspects of the game. Not necessarily leaning 100% into any one phase to get the job done.
Perfect. And yeah, there are a significant number of highly flexible loyalist legions. So the first one, I think what I had planned was to kind of give a brief overview of a legion's rules, talk about their color scheme a little bit, maybe a light overview on fluff because that can be another important factor. And then just kind of see how it shakes out from there. So the first one, just going through the loyalist book that I have in the flexible side, is Legio Griffonicus, the War Griffins. Now, these guys I think are the single most flexible legion in the entire game. Um, they have their biggest trait that people know them for is the fact that they can select a Reaver Titan in place of any Warlord or Warhound in any mana pool as part of its mandatory or optional components. So you don't there's some legions where you can select one thing to substitute. Griffonicus, you can have all Reavers all the time, no matter what. And they also have the war gear of the enhanced all specs relays that you can give to your warhound. So they're not just a reaver focused legion, right? You can put these on your warhounds for 10 points. Um, where whenever a Legio Griffonicus Titan makes an attack within 12 inches of this Warhound Titan, you can pre-measure your distance, which is a thing you normally can't do in Titanicus. The other warrior that they have is the Gravitas plating that you can put on a Reaver, and that basically just bumps up the armor values by one. However, they decrease their movement speed by one, and they actually have a third Legion specific war gear. And this one is mutually exclusive with that Gravitas plating, right? They have motive subreactors that let you push for speed and turn, so power to locomotors and power to stabilizers without pushing. However, there's consequences if you take critical damage to your legs. They do have one more trait that I didn't discuss, the Lust for Glory, where after you deploy, each Titan selects a target and can reroll hit rolls of one and add one to any armor rolls against that target, unless another friendly Griffonicus Titan targets it. So it's that one is a little more, you pick what you want each engine to go for. You can use it, you don't have to. But I think they are the most flexible. Reavers can do anything that you want them to. So they've got
Anything?
just about. I mean, you've seen what that power fist looks like.
Mm, very true.
They've also got sort of a neat kind of granite gray or slate gray and yellow with slightly bone gold trim. They're a decent looking Legio.
Yeah, definitely are one that don't really shoehorn you into a particular play style. I mean, obviously they've got things angled towards the Reavers and Warhounds, but you don't necessarily have to take them. If you like the idea of one-on-one combat, picking a target and then just shooting that Titan at that target, I mean, you can still do that with Warlords. which
Yeah, so you can still do that lust for glory thing and just duke it out with whatever you want.
and gray and yellow is pretty sharp. Can't complain about that color scheme.
Yep.
So the next Legio in that category is the Legio Solaria, the Imperial Hunters. Now these are another one of those replacement engine Legios. They replace things with Warhounds. You can also take. Yeah, well, you replace Reavers with Warhounds, and you can squadron up to 5 Warhounds if you really want to. That's probably not a thing you're going to do a lot, but most, the baseline squadron is only up to 3, so that's gives you some options. Unlike Gryphonicus, they actually have one of their own stratagems. For 1 point, is the Fog of War that lets you redeploy any of your Warhounds in the strategy phase of the first round. Right, so it gives you that opportunity to, oh, my opponent deployed in this way as a countermeasure to how I've deployed something. I'm just going to move this thing over here. And you can buy this multiple times. So if you want to spend all your stratagem points on Fog of War and just deploy wherever the hell you want and counter deploy, you can do that. They have a piece of war gear, the Fortis Motivators, for Warhounds, where in the damage control phase, you repair critical damage to your legs on a 1+ instead of a 5, like normal. So if you come across some chucklehead that's got a bunch of Ursus claws and is trying to take you down that way, that can really help you out there.
Fucking what is it? Thermal mines or
Yeah, thermal
whatever type
mines,
of mine.
any kind of mine stratagem, because those are still out there. And finally, they have the Camellia Line Shrouding, which any Titan of skill 6 or less. So as of now, it's just Warhounds, but I think that'll include like the Direwolf if they ever make the Rapier. And that's just a -1 to hit as long as you move 6 inches and are more than 10 inches away. But as soon as you take a point of structural damage, that bonus is lost. So it's one of those things that'll help you get in somewhere, but maybe not for the long haul. Now their paint scheme is, I don't know, you might like it. I'm not a huge fan, but it's kind of like if you cut into a green apple is kind of what it reminds me of.
This got this very like rippled green edging in like a
Yeah,
white meat.
Like
exactly.
modeled white and green with red trim.
Well,
Red
yeah, silver
accents.
trim with red secondaries.
Accents is what I meant. Yeah.
Accents, yeah.
I gotta be honest, I'm not a fan of that paint scheme.
Yeah, that's a tough sell for me too, not gonna lie.
And also, they definitely, while they're flexible, they do definitely sound like they lean into Warhounds in particular a bit much. Like, if you're not taking Warhounds with them, you're kind of losing out on some stuff.
Yeah, they are much more, a little more shoehorned, I would say, than Gryphonicus is. I mean, it does let you do things like have Warhounds and a Corsair, which can be pretty cool. But it is, yeah, you're just putting Warhounds, which are, I wouldn't say limited. They do very well by themselves, even, but it is definitely not as universal as the Reaver is.
Like, there's a lot of things they can do to stay out of trouble and mitigate any damage coming their way, but once they do get touched, things tend to go bad for them very quickly.
Yeah.
All right, so what's next?
So the next one I have here is the Legio Ataris, the Firebrands. Once per battle, they can re-roll the D10 at the start of the round to see who goes first, but only if they roll lower than the opponent. And then if you win, you have to be first player. So I think there's something to be said for winning the roll off and making your opponent go first. It's a strategy, not one that I would always employ, but there's reasons that you could do so, especially if you have the dominant strategist Princeps trait. But in this case, you have to, if you really want to be first player, that is going to help you to do so. But you only get you that once per battle. The big draw for them that made me put them in this category is their Legio specific stratagem, the Mana Pool of 1. This is 2 stratagem points. Do it in the beginning of any round, and for the duration of that round, 1 Titan in your force may gain the benefits of any mana pool that is normally available to Legio Atars, which right now is all of them except for the Audax specific one. And in the meantime, it loses any other mana pool trait it might have. So, for example, you might have a warlord that's in like an axiom, and he really needs to kill the fuck out of something. So you're like, you know what? This round, I want this guy to be an extermigus warlord and add strength to all his weapons.
Or, he's already been issued his order that he needs, so you can then swap the maniple trait to something else.
Yeah, if you're like, oh, I really need an emergency repair on this guy, you can just say, hey, this guy's now in a precept maniple, and I'm choosing emergency repair for the phase or for the round, and get that on a 2-up every time.
That's pretty toolbox useful. I like that.
The other stratagem that they have is the Impetuous Machine Spirit for 1 point. You reveal that when you would be required to roll on the Awakened Machine Spirit table. So rather than rolling, you may instead choose to automatically apply the impetuous result, which causes your Titan to move forward d6 inches, but instead you go d6 plus 2. So that's, it's situational, but it's one of those things where, especially maybe if you're declaring power to locomotors and you end up awakening your machine spirit and you're like, I don't want to risk not moving at all, so I'm going to play this.
Like, I don't know how the AT community at large feels about these, like, apply specific machine spirit awaken table results traits and stratagems and things like that. But I think they're real fucking good, because I mean, like, it's not something that comes up a lot, but when it does, if you take out that randomness to it, that's really nice to be able to have that consistency in a normally very random and variant part of the game.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the big draws for Furians is the fact that they just get to choose which result that they apply.
Yeah, because like if you awaken machine spirit and you fail that command check and you have to apply something random, it can go real bad real quick.
Yeah, like if you roll a 1 and your Titan just sits there and does nothing when you were trying to fire a Bellicosa, you're going to have a bad time.
Sure. Yeah.
They also do...
It's like not having enough badges in Pokemon. Your Titan's just not going to listen to you.
Exactly. And this way you can at least guarantee that they're going to do something halfway decent.
Yeah.
Their last bit is the Infernus missiles. Anything with Apocalypse missile launchers, arrays, or 1 Apocalypse missile launcher can upgrade this for 25 points. And this gives you the Voidbreaker 2 trait, which is as long as you're hit at least once, it causes 2 additional Void Shield saves, in addition to however many hits you have. In addition, if a unit suffers at least 1 hit, place a 5-inch blast marker under the unit. In the end phase, any model with at least part of its base on the marker takes a strength 4 hit, ignoring ion shields and void shields. After resolving any hit, the fire goes out and the marker is removed. Titans are hit in the legs. Terrain also suffers a strength 4 hit. That one's a lot less universally good, but Voidbreaker, and there's no downsides to it. Yeah. A lot of these missile launcher upgrades tend to reduce the dice
or damage.
Reduce the dice, reduce the damage, anything like that. No, this is just you get to put Voidbreaker on your Apocalypse missiles. That's always good.
Just light that motherfucker really on fire.
I like
just being able to strip Void Shield seems really good.
So talk to us about the color scheme on them.
Yeah, this is another kind of crazy one. It's definitely going to stand out.
That's the condiments. Those are like it is ketchup and mustard
And mayonnaise,
and mayonnaise. Yeah.
which is an
which we know a
instrument.
thing or two about mayonnaise.
Sorry for shocking. Expand consciousness. He who controls the mayonnaise controls the highway.
I wish
That's
you keep
more true than
saying
I care
words
to
that
admit.
hurt my body.
God damn it.
This is the worst.
Mayonnaise OC.
Mayosi.
Hell mussy.
Duke-OC.
Before this goes completely off the fucking rails, Jesus Christ.
You did
Miracle mussy.
this is your fault. You had to keep saying it every time yesterday.
Yeah,
Miracle
I reject the consequences of my own actions. Never punished.
Never punished.
You know,
yeah, I gotta say, I'm. It doesn't seem like it's a difficult scheme to paint, but man, that would be hard for me to make look good.
Yeah,
As a,
it's a lot of primary colors, isn't it?
I mean, it's like the examples in the book showcase it with like the pauldrons being red with silver trim, which by itself I think looks pretty sharp. I like that, but then the head and like the body is all this like bone mayonnaise, and I was just like, I don't like it. I don't know. I can't stand by it. Like it. I think it would look because that's kind of like the oh gosh, what are they? The 40K like Deathwing look kind of like that.
Yeah.
But they've got other things to break it up. Those giant bone panels that are all in that bone white just don't look as sharp to me.
Well, and I mean, there's something to be said. You can always kind of do your own thing with them, right? Because every Titan in within a Legio is an individual, and they're not always super regimented. So maybe
Well, of
you
course.
just lean more into the silver and red, and just have some like bone accents.
Yeah, no, certainly. Where I'm just talking about the scheme as it is presented.
Sure.
Fucker.
one last note.
Look, man, I'm counterpointing your counterpoint. All right. Like,
And I counterpointed it with fucker.
One
Fucker.
last point about mayonnaise, and since mayonnaise
oh
is
my
made out of eggs,
god.
can one make mayonnaise from eggs that weren't chicken eggs, like duck or something? Quail,
Yeah,
snake
I mean,
man.
you can make it out of the void, apparently, if you want.
Void mayonnaise.
Boy, that's a fucking callback. Jesus Christ.
This episode's sponsored by fucking whatever that game was. I forget now. Stardew Valley. Yeah.
Yeah, when we say Hellmans, we mean Hellmans.
Traders only.
Don't oh god, don't platypuses lay eggs?
Yeah, they sure
Yeah.
do.
Oh. Oh, why are my fingers going to Google to ask this question?
Platypayonnaise.
Get that platypussy.
So do echidnas lay eggs too.
Oh. Oh, the first thing that comes up is just a Reddit ask Reddit. Is it possible to make mayonnaise out of platypus eggs? Why or why not?
Jesus.
Well,
what's
I mean,
the answer?
Yeah, what's the answer? What does Reddit
The
have to say
answer
about
is yes, but I don't like it.
it? Yes, but fuck you for asking this question.
But here's another thing: platypuses also sweat milk, so you could make mayonnaise out of the eggs and then whipped topping out of their secretions.
So basically, what you're telling me right now is platypuses are one-person deviled egg machines.
So what you're telling me right now is nuke Australia.
More fodder for my Australia isn't real.
Who the fuck
I
made
don't
up this
know. I think you
animal?
can't make that shit up.
Too real to be fake.
I think it sounds like some shit I would have made up in kindergarten, to be honest. Like on a dare, like
Hey,
what's the
man.
grossest place of? Oh, they got omelet otters in the rivers.
So
Oh yeah,
tell
that's
me,
right. They're also Venom. They've also got Venom.
Yeah.
yeah. So Gray, what was the name of your childhood psychologist?
Doctor
the name can't be put out to protect the innocent.
Doctor
Still,
Doctor Spock.
there you go, Dr. Spock.
Like, boy, his
Well-
parents misread the fuck out of that book. Jesus.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a platypus sounds like an animal a kindergartner would make up on a dare. Like, make up the weirdest animal. Oh, I know, it sweats milk and lays eggs, but it's also an otter and also poisonous claws. Yeah, fuck you.
Sounds
It's not
like it said make up an animal, not a Pokemon.
It is weird that there's no platypus Pokemon, but I guess you just can't design anything weirder than that.
I feel
Golduck
like
is-
there might be. Yeah, I think Golduck would kind of be a platypus Pokemon.
Yeah, Psyduck and Golduck absolutely look like platypuses, even though they're ducks, but
Well,
whatever.
I mean,
Even though
Psyduck
they're a
is...
duck and a kappa. Anyway, so the
We'll
the
edit this
next
part
thing-
out and put it in our director's cut edition for a fucking Patreon that doesn't exist.
Well, this is definitely
No,
like
I think it needs to stay in there because I
Oh,
gotta
it's
admit that was
100%
one of the
staying
most
in.
that was one of the most impressive, like, like
Tangents.
just detractions that we
that's the
had.
most airtime Gray's getting, so I gotta leave it
Dear
to him.
listeners, if anybody there is suffering from whiplash, be sure to send your invoices from the hospital to argletalkpodcast@gmail.com. We'll take care of that.
Also,
for you.
if anyone owns a platypus, this is not has nothing to do with what we just talked about, but please let us know.
We just want to see pictures.
Yeah, I want to hold one.
Do you?
do not
I
do
thought
not
you
let
just said
Ben
they were
hold-
venomous. Why do you want to hold a venomous animal? You're like one of those weirdos that owns a fucking tarantula as a pet. Like, why?
No, no,
or a
no,
pit
no.
viper.
He's trying to
Oh.
get himself grade A, no vitamin D added platypus milk.
Yeah, it's not lethal to
Unpasteurized.
humans.
Oh no!
Ugh.
God damn
Quit.
it! What's the next fucking Legio, Eric? Jesus.
All right, so the next one we got is the Legio Fortidus, the Dauntless.
Hey.
These guys are another Titan replacement legion, where you can alter one of the mandatory Titan components, exchanging that mandatory component for a Titan of scale 10 or lower, which, as of right now, just means anything that's not a War Master. And note for that, the purposes of the Maniples rules, the replacement Titan does not count as the Titan type it is replacing. So yes, you can replace your Reaver and a Venator with a Warlord, but it doesn't get to shoot after the Warhounds drop shields. However, you can do something like putting a Warlord in a Ferox Maniple, which is something that I hope to do someday. The other thing they got is the Children of Mars. This is something to where they work very well with Knight Banners. So any Knight Banner in your battle group may reroll command checks to avoid being shaken, provided they are within line of sight of at least one friendly Legio Fortidus Titan. They have a stratagem for 2 points called For the Red Planet. You play this when activating a Titan in any phase. Until the beginning of the following game turn, you ignore the damage effects of critical damage to the head, body, or legs, as chosen by the player. So if you've got something like, oh, I really need to make this charge, but my locomotors are seized and I'm only moving half, you play this and you don't have to do that anymore. Or, oh, I really need to, get this order off, but I have my Princeps wounded and penalties to my command checks. Not this turn, I don't. VSG burnout, you might be able to get something back in the damage control phase, for that turn. The other thing they have, which is a lot more fun, is for 1 point, is Red Skies. Anytime one of your Titans suffers a magazine detonation or a catastrophic meltdown, add 5 to the Titan scale.
Fuck you. Thank
No.
you very much.
Nice.
So for magazine detonation, that increases the range. I believe that also increases the range for a meltdown. It might increase the strength as well. I'm not 100%.
It said add 5 to what?
To the Titan scale.
Yeah, it definitely adds to the damage too, I think.
Yeah, from Meltdown specifically, because magazine detonations are
So
based
you
on
can
weapon.
just like go fucking nuclear.
Neat.
You're like, oh, you got your Reaver all up in my Warlussy? Red skies,
Oh
bitch.
my god.
That pack of Warhounds, gone.
Which for what it's worth, Fortitus is what I'm running my custom painted synthwave eye bleed Titans as at the moment because I think it meshes well with my play style.
Yeah, and there's a couple of mana pools in particular that these guys just naturally go really well with.
Which I think I'm running a Mandatus Maniple. So like having the knights as basically cannon fodder.
Oh yeah, the Dominus.
Dominus, that's what it is. Yeah.
And then their paint scheme is still a little on the mayonnaise condiment side, but it's got that gold trim that I think is a little more appealing, and it's more of a white than a mayonnaise white.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's a little bit better, but
Which to my point also, like, I mean, I don't know how offended somebody might be at say an event with me saying that, but like you can always just paint the Titans however you want to and then just use a different Titan Legio rules.
Yeah, I mean that's true. If you really like the look of one Legio, but you really like the rules of another, it's your game, dude. What are they gonna do? Stab you? Quote from Man Stabbed.
Stabbed over Titan Legion.
So how do you feel about Fortitus, Ben?
not bad. I think I don't think I'm leaning towards them, but they're definitely nicer looking as presented.
Fair enough.
All right. So the next one we've got is Legio Honorum, Deathbolts 1. These guys are finally something that isn't a. Well, no, they are a substitution legion, but theirs is a little more restrictive. So they can substitute any mandatory component from an Axiom, Myrmidon, or Fortis maniple with a Reaver or Warlord, as long as the new Titan is of equal or greater scale than the Titan is replacing. So basically, you can put a Warlord in any of those in place of a Reaver, but only swapping in Reavers for like Warhounds. In addition, you can replace a single optional component, Reaver or Warlord, with a Warbringer Nemesis. You can only include one Warbringer Nemesis in this way. So that's one of those things where, just due to when the Warbringer was released in the game's life cycle, there's not a lot that you can really put them in. This kind of lets you put a Warbringer kind of anywhere you want. If you want Myrmidon wouldn't be a bad choice for it. Axiom is always a good choice.
Which Warbringers are real good. I like them. They're tanky as fuck. They're like built like a warlord, sting like a reaver.
Yeah. Even to a limited degree, sting like a warlord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're also they have a little. So these guys have a little bit kind of everything, right? So they have that substitution flexibility, but they also have a little bit of defensive capability in their resolute and unbowed trait, where anytime they move more than 4 inches in the movement phase, you decrease the bonus to an attacker's armor roll as the result of damage already inflicted by 1, as long as you're getting shot in the front. So, if you're charging something in and you've already got like +2 on your body and get shot at, as long as you're, anything can do this. You have to boost your warlord to do so, but, you can make that +2 into a +1 instead.
Okay.
Finally, they've got one stratagem is the Crusading Spirit for 1 point. Played in any stratagem phase. For the remainder of the phase, you do not suffer any penalties to command checks. and may re-roll a failed command check when issuing orders. One Titan can do that, or one Titan can re-roll. So, again, if you have like penalties based on proximity to certain traitor legions, uh, critical damage effects, you can ignore those. And finally, they have the Basilius Throne War Gear, which you put on your Princeps Signoris Titan. You can issue any order without the need to make a command check, and you can also add one to the result of a command check for any other Titan that is getting the same order as your Princeps Signoris.
Which is pretty good.
Neat.
Where I think these guys really shine is in that sweet, sweet, deep red and gold paint scheme.
Yeah, it's pretty hot. It's like red,
Yeah,
gold, and
that
black.
does look good. I like that.
Got a little black secondary in there as well.
It's pretty hot.
Into it.
Very flexible, uh not tailored Legio. Like they very very flexible. Their one trait's kind of niche, but it is what it is.
Yeah, the damage reduction one I think is one of those that you don't even have to plan around it, because a lot of things are going to be coming at you from the front, more or less. But also, like, even if the mana pools that you're restricted to in terms of swapping, um, they're not bad mana pools to choose. And the ability to put in a Warbringer in places you can't normally put a Warbringer is not bad. And they also have, like, since they have more than just the substitution trait, you don't even have to run one of those mana pools if you don't want to.
And still get like some benefit out of using them
Yeah.
as Legio.
Yeah.
The next thing we've got is Legio Oberon, Death Bolts 2. This time it's not Death Bolts 1.
Electric Boogaloo.
Death Bolts 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yep, so they've also got two traits. The first one is the Efficient Planners. When you issue an order to any friendly Legio Oberon Titan, you can add one to the result of the command check for each Legio Oberon Titan that has already been successfully issued with the same order during this round to a maximum of +3. So it's kind of like that Basilius Throne that we had on Anorum, except you can do that with any Titan. And it doesn't even have to be in the same mana pool. So if you're doing something like running 2 minimum sized light mana pools, this will apply. You want everything in your Feroxes to charge? You got it, buddy.
Mm.
Their
Hell yeah.
second trait is the Armored Phalanx. So you subtract 1 from the result of any armor roll made against a Legio Oberon Titan that is within 2 inches of one or more friendly Legio Oberon Titans. That's really good on, like, your Warhound squadrons that are out there sharing shields. There's some mana pools that, reward uh, castling up. You put something like a Regia mana pool where your Warhounds are sticking close to your Warlords to share shields, and you're getting armor penalties as a result.
Dig it.
We're good. We're good.
Uh,
I like
Like it a lot. Yeah, they have 2 stratagems. These are a little expensive stratagems, but they have the decisive action for 2 points. You play it in any strategy phase. If you play it during the first round, then you can issue full stride or first fire without the need for a command check. If played during any other round, you may issue full stride or split fire without
Oh.
needing a command check. If you, whatever you choose, if you're doing that order or one of those orders, they have to get the same one. So if you play this and you want to full stride without a command check, everyone gets full stride. You can't choose one full stride, one split fire, but you do get to choose one of those two, and you can play it in different phases and get different results however you need to.
Right, which is even more flexibility, which is really nice.
And their second one is Strategizer for 3 points. This one's fun. Anytime your opponent plays a stratagem that costs 2 or fewer points, before resolving its effects, discard that stratagem. You basically get a 3-point Uno reverse card. Or a skip card, I guess.
The
Ooh,
nope.
that seems mean.
Yeah, so some
That's
guy
expensive
rocks
to
up with
do
some.
it.
It is expensive to do it, but like some guy rocks up with like Titan Hunter infantry or something. Ha, bet.
Or I don't
Thermal
know.
mines are always a good one. Are thermal
Fucking,
mines 3 now or 2?
I'm not sure. I think they might be 2. Or fucking the blind barrage or whatever that fucking one was.
Oh yeah, concealment barrage,
Yeah.
which I have used to be pretty clutch on a number of occasions. There's only 1 point, but yeah, I mean that 1 point can mean the difference of life or death for an engine. So you pay 3 points to say no. Fuck your concealment barrage. I'm gonna blast you to hell.
Hell yeah.
Fuck you very much. They're a pretty good color scheme as well.
Yeah, I think the orange and black go very well together, especially if you want to be the Tiger King.
Oh,
Such
you know
as,
what?
I wish
such
you hadn't
as
have said that.
Panthera Rex, as they have illustrated here.
Does that mean that every time I lose an engine, I would have to be like, I'm never going to financially recover from this?
You do now.
So, fun fact. My high school's colors were orange and black, and we were, in fact, no shit, the truckers.
I'm calling bullshit on the trucker part.
I will send it to you.
I believe him.
It's
why
all
are you going to
it's
not
all
believe
coming
him?
together.
We're living in a simulation.
We're yeah.
No.
I believe him because that just made a whole lot of things make a whole lot more sense.
You know what? Fair. But another neat thing that these guys show on the ones presented in the book is also that kind of reversed. The Warhound there on its leg has a black and orange rather than an orange and black, and you can mix and match that. Look it real good, just for ideas.
You can mix and match these nuts. Go ahead and look at the Discord.
Motherfucker. Or trucker fucker, I suppose.
Cindy?
Trucker fucking. What did I create?
Oh, God.
It is all.
So much makes sense now.
You thought this shit was a fucking game, man. This ain't no game, player.
This isn't a fucking game, is my life.
This real fucking homie.
This is real life, motherfucker.
So how do we feel about Death Bolts 1 and 2?
Not as good after Gray said that shit, I'll be honest.
Yeah, no, I gotta say, Gray definitely ruined that.
Honestly, you know, I've been waiting around to see if there's a Zestobiax option for AT, but this sounds like this might be my gig right here. To be honest.
Fucking Tiger Stripe trucker fucking bullshit.
You put that suitcase warlord fist on it.
Hell yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah,
They hate it.
that paint scheme, however, is truly painful to me.
Fair enough. Not into
Yeah,
the
you,
Tiger
you don't
Stripes.
like painful from you don't care for the for the colors themselves, or you don't like the zigzags.
I mean, I don't think I don't know that I could do the zigzags justice, but also it looks like I'd have to be a Cincinnati Bengals fan.
Are you not?
Yeah. Aren't we all? I thought that's what this podcast was about.
Oh, well, that makes some of our conversations real winky. Winky? What? What
Whoa.
the fuck, Ben? Weird. Weird was what I was going for, and I said winky. I'm sleepy.
He's getting weird about the winky. Gotcha. All right. Roll.
What's the next one you got, Eric?
All right, so the next one we've got here is the Legio Venator, the Iron Spiders. And I'll be honest, if you didn't care for the Tiger Stripes, you might not care for these guys. But they are another one of those replacement Titans. There's a theme here where any Venator may select a Reaver Titan in place of any Warlord Titan as part of its mandatory components. And as we said before, the Reavers are very flexible. You can have them do whatever you want.
Honestly,
But
I
wait,
can see why. I can see why like that's a popular theme amongst your classification of flexible legios, because being able to swap out mandatory Titan components is pretty fucking flexible. It gives you a lot more options.
yeah, man, you want to do like an all Reaver Extergimus? Like if you want to play an Extergimus Maniple at 1,500 points and be that guy, you can do that.
Just do it all Reavers.
Yeah, and they get do shoehorn a little bit, I think. Actually, no, they don't. Okay, so their other Legio trait, the one mind at the beginning of each round, Titans within a friendly Legio Venator maniple may be formed into squadrons. This may contain a maximum of 2 Titans and cannot include a Titan that is already part of a squadron. These squadrons last until the end of the round. They cannot merge Void Shield, but follow other squadron rules as normal. So what that means is you combo your activations together. You can coordinated strike for a bonus to your armor roll, and you can do that with you basically get a mini Lupercal Maniple just for playing the Legion, and you can do it with Reavers, Warhounds, Warbringers, mix and match to your taste. They're
Squadron War Masters.
If you can find a way to get a War Master and a Maniple, that would do it. They have 3 traits, which is not common, but the last one is loyalty above all. They straight up ignore the Princeps wounded critical damage effect, which reduces command penalties when you have critical damage there. In addition, you add 1 to any command check when you're within 6 inches of your Princeps Senioris. And it just says of a Legio Venator Princeps Senioris, so you have multiple maniples. Doesn't have to be the same maniple.
Hmm.
They also have 1 piece of war gear, the Blind Launchers. This does not replace or upgrade any particular weapon. Just once per game in the combat phase, you may activate your Blind Launchers. If you do until the start of the next combat phase, you apply a -1 modifier to all hit rolls for attacks made by and against this Titan. You can activate this at any point during that Titan's activation, including after you have made your attacks.
That wouldn't be bad on a close combat Titan.
Yeah, so it's basically like we were saying, you get a mini Lupercal. This is you just get a blind barrage at any time on every Titan.
Oh, that's a little cray cray.
Also, if you want to be a mega hipster, which don't we all, at least until recently, there were like very few, if any, people who actually played this Legio. I think the Full Stride or the Maximal Fire Boys, one of those guys, did a podcast about Venator, and the only images that they could find of someone having painted Legio Venator was the examples on Goonhammer for when they did their overview. So they might be an uptick in popularity now, but I think when you actually see the paint scheme, you might start to understand why.
Yeah,
It's
I
a,
don't think that's that bad.
I think it's the spider webs draw people away.
See, I mean, yeah, but in the grand scheme of things, those aren't difficult to freehand.
I would agree.
Trying to do a shitload
Why?
of like a zigzag like on the death bolts too, like that looks miserable. But like that, the picture in the book of that the Lupus Irae, the Warlord Battle Titan, like that looks pretty fucking sharp.
Yeah, and you don't even need to put them on that many. They have the Theradionics, and the one below is a Warhound. It's just got a spider web on each leg.
Well,
That's
see,
it.
and that looks like the Warlord looks like it is mostly like is it gray and like a pale blue?
It's like a white and black, like white with black trim.
I
Yeah,
would
but
do
like look at those panels. like on the Warhound, like the spider webs are on white, but then the other
Oh yeah,
half
it's like
of
a very cold white for sure. Yeah, maybe even like a
it
very
looks like
light
it's
blue.
two-toned.
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be.
That's actually not that bad looking. I like that.
Yeah, I will say if I were to ever play a Loyalist Legio, because I kind of want a Psi Titan, it would be these guys.
Yeah, that's not bad looking. I didn't even give them a look, but now I'm thinking, man, that's actually not bad.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of people don't, and I don't really get it. They've got everything that you could want. They've got a kick-ass name in the Iron Spiders. They've got some pretty powerful traits that are always good, and they've got some real good piece of war gear and a pretty cool color scheme.
Yeah, no, that looks pretty good.
So I do have one more on this list here is the Legio Lysanda, the Sentinels of the Edge.
You mean Edge Lord?
Oh yeah,
Edge.
total Edge Lords. So they have two Legio traits. The first is the Patience Beyond Measure. Before any units are deployed, if you contain at least one Legio Lysanda mana pool in your battle force, you can choose to deploy all of your units at once at the start before the opponent deploys any, instead of the alternating deployments. If you do so, you are automatically the second player in the first turn. However, if you do this, you add one to the result of any hit rolls and command checks made during the first round.
Okay.
It's definitely one that I think takes a studious and careful player to pull off. But re-rolls or not re-rolls, even just adding bonus is always good,
I mean,
especially in that
it is
first round for command checks.
it is called Patience Without Measure.
That it is. Their second Legio trait is a lot more disappointing. The stillness of mind, you add 2 to the result when rolling to see if a shutdown order is removed. I have never even heard of someone voluntarily issuing a shutdown order. So, maybe you'll be the first.
Yeah, I think that was a mechanic that was intended to be more widespread than it is. Because like rather than oh shit, I'm about to blow up my own Titan, shut down. I think most people just do emergency repairs and try and cool it off. Like I don't.
Yeah, and I think what most people do is, oh, I'm about to, blow up. I'm just gonna run and use my movement phase to get in the middle of shit before I go nuclear.
Also that.
Yeah.
They do have a piece of war gear, the Mantle of Responsibility. You can reroll any ones or twos when making command checks, which basically rerolls any failure on your warlords or Princeps Senioris Reaver.
Hey,
Or
isn't the man,
Princeps Senioris Warhound, now that I think of it.
Yeah,
dude,
that's
they
not
just
bad.
ripped first.
Do what?
Isn't that the thing that they were fighting over in the second Transformers movie? The thing that makes Optimus Prime, the Mantle of Responsibility?
I thought that was the Allspark.
No, that was the first one. No, the second one where it was that
The-
stupid like
The first
helix.
one was the cartoon, you plebeian.
Oh yeah.
I don't know,
But no,
man. I just watch those movies to see Megan Fox bend over and run and
it,
explosions.
this was the last one that had Megan Fox. It was the weird fucking helix thing that turned into sand, and then he put Shia LaBeouf carrying around in his gym sock for the whole fucking movie. It was something like that. Mantle of Responsibility, some shit like that. Mantle of Leadership. I don't know.
I think it was the Matrix of Leadership.
Matrix of Leadership.
Yeah, so
Same,
not the same thing at all, but thanks for trying.
same thing, same difference.
Close enough for government
Close,
work.
close enough. Close enough for IP. No.
Yeah,
Dude, from
legally distinct.
Legally distinct Mantle of Responsibility.
And you can give that to any Titan. I know I was just talking about it makes your Princeps Senioris real good, but you can give that to anyone. Even a Warhound on a command of 5 will now only straight up fail on a 3 or 4 instead of a 1, 2, 3, or 4. You at least get that reroll.
Yeah.
And they also have a stratagem, is the Frontier Guard for 2 points. During the strategy phase of any round until the end of that round, the weapon skill and ballistic skill of any Titan that is within 6 inches of an objective marker is increased by 1 to a maximum of 2+. Now, it also specifies that this is of an objective marker for their own victory conditions, because in Titanicus, it's possible that you and your opponent are not playing the same mission. So it's good that they clarify that.
Yeah,
Neat.
super neat.
How do you feel about checkerboards, Ben?
Well, I saw that, and I thought, I should tell Eric to not have to describe this Legio anymore. But I didn't. I let you say everything about it because, no, ain't no way.
Yeah, honestly, we should have just ended on the Iron Spiders, because those guys just had everything you could want.
I'm doing checkers on enough of my Dark Angels infantry that I'm just like, yep, there's no way I'm doing that on robots too.
And every time I do one, I get hungry for burgers. This episode brought to you by Check.
Brought to you
my
by
God.
rallies.
I haven't been to a rallies in like 15 years.
Well, come to my house. There's one right down the street.
Oh, I know when you're talking about over by the Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but literally just at your house.
Well, come back.
Nah, you're so far away.
You can come back. We can go get rallies.
Come on back, baby. We can go get rallies, and then we do other stuff.
Get rallies, and then go across the street and get some egg rolls at Panda Express.
That's right. Then we can go to the liquor store right, like 1 block away.
I feel like there's always got to be either a Rallies or a Hardee's next to a fucking liquor store.
There's usually a food line in this state.
Also true.
There is a lot of food lines, or Safeway or something.
Because they don't. You got to go to the grocery store to get your beer and wine. So you go to the grocery store to get your beer and wine, and then go next door to the liquor store and get your fucking whiskey or whatever the fuck.
Right. Get your. Yeah.
Get your booze.
It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, that liquor store is the only one I can think of that isn't next to a food line. It's next to a Kroger, which is weird. Anyways.
Apropos of nothing.
Yeah, so what do you think there, Ben? Any of those catch your eye?
So far, if purely on paint scheme, I think I like, Honorum or Venator. Rules wise, I think I like Venator, so I think I'm leaning towards them at the moment. I still have to go back, and we can discuss now if you feel so inclined, because I know I gave you the parameters to begin with, but I was also looking at what are Legio Metallica for fairly obvious reasons, and Legio Ossidax, the cockatrices.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, let's for the sake of the viewers or listeners, let's take a look at Legio Ossidax, because they're I have these guys. I have both of those guys actually in my defensive category,
which it has its own things going for it so far as flexibility is concerned. I mean,
there is a lot.
You can do more things if you are alive longer.
That's true. These guys in particular, Ossidax, I was kind of on the fence about where to put them, because they do have. So we'll go through it. Legio specific trait: reforged in war. You never suffer penalties to command checks and may ignore effects that force them to re-roll successful command checks. So anything that you want to do, you're going to be able to do it. More or less. At least we know without any penalty. Even if my fucking leadership bomb corrupted Reaver gets all up in your grill, you don't give a shit.
Which is pretty fucking good, honestly.
But there's rolling piss.
Doesn't help if
Remember
you're
that?
rolling piss. It's absolutely true.
Yep.
I'm glad that we have the gray to English translator.
It's a rolling piss.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ. That's also a double layered joke there.
Yes, it is. Oh, I love it.
God damn it.
So the now more than anything, they lean into the stratagem side. They have two stratagems. So the first one for 1 point is Relentless March. Play this in any stratagem phase. For the remainder of that round, you can issue full stride without the need to make a command check and are not affected by difficult and dangerous terrain.
Okay.
Normally, difficult terrain halves your movement, and dangerous terrain causes basically compounding strength hit to your legs the more you move through it. So being able to
Been
ignore
great.
that, yeah. Their second stratagem, Blood Begets Blood, for 3 points. Play this when any Ossidax Titan suffers catastrophic damage. After doing so, every friendly Legio Ossidax Titan may immediately make a single weapon attack at the closest visible enemy unit. If you do this, you increase their reactor track by 2.
Oof.
Which is basically if a friendly Titan gets killed, everybody else gets to shoot at an enemy for free.
Yeah, everyone gets big
Well,
mad
For
and just shoots.
two reactor isn't free, but
I mean, but if it's the last turn of the game, that could be a big swing at the end of the game. At the last turn of the game, though, you know.
That
Depending on
could,
what you
because
have left.
yeah, it's entirely possible that something is suffering catastrophic damage. There is an enemy who is also close to catastrophic damage.
Right.
Or
or
Yeah.
maybe you got a Titan that's 2 reactor levels away from going fucking nuclear, standing in the middle of a bunch of other people, and be like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna shoot him this fucking maximal fire plasma, and we'll just take all these motherfuckers with me."
Yeah.
Yeah.
True that.
and
There's
their
ability there.
and their piece of specific war gear, which is kind of what tipped the level for me, is they can take plasma channels for 20 points once per game during the movement phase. If you are equipped with plasma channels, you can activate your plasma channels. If you do so, decrease the reactor level of that Titan by D3 plus 1.
Oh, so I definitely
This
misread
counts.
that earlier.
Yeah, this counts as your activation. So you're not going to move, but you are just going to cool off real good.
And
Yeah,
you
cool.
can't shoot.
Oh, yeah, you'll
Or-
get to shoot because this
But
is
you
in
can't
the movement
move.
phase. Right.
Okay. Yeah.
So what did you think it was when you read it before?
So for I don't remember exactly what my brain thought, but I thought it said increase the reactor level by D3 plus 1. And I think when I read it, when my brain interpreted increase, I stopped giving a shit about the rest. It's like ain't nothing good about, because I'd roll a 5 and a 6 every single time.
Yeah, you would.
Like just ain't no way. So okay, that makes a big goddamn difference. The only, I mean, I like that. It seems like they're very, they're very maneuverable, and that, especially if there's a lot of difficult and dangerous terrain around that could potentially, you could get between you and an enemy, that would be really good. Um, Only having a single Legio trait versus the two and a lot of the Legios having two is a little of a downer, but the fact that very little is going to be able to dick with my ability to do command checks is pretty nice.
And the other thing, what I really like about the plasma channels is, so one of my corrupted warhounds for the Murder Lords is a double turbo laser Frozen Soul. And Frozen Soul gives you 2 additional reactor or repair dice, but they have to be used on vending heat. Warhounds, of course, if you get 2 heat, you're going to be rolling on that reactor overload. That Frozen Soul doesn't really do anything to help you avoid rolling on that table unless you emergency repair, but it does let you kind of do things again without getting too hot. This lets you avoid those consequences. So if you have if you push real hard to get the movement to where you need to go on one turn, and then you fire turbo lasers or maximal fire plasma, or anything like that, that would increase your. Or if you use that blood begets blood and increase that by 2, you're venting a minimum of 2 heat, and you are doing that before the damage control phase when you would be rolling on that reactor overload.
Yeah.
And you can vent some more.
Yeah.
Seems kind of good.
And
Um,
then you throw in what I think is a pretty nice looking paint job overall.
I
what's
do
the
like this one. Yeah.
what's the Legio paint job? Those of us who aren't looking at it directly.
The Osidex,
So
right?
it's like a half, kind of a white marble, and a like an ocean teal with red heads.
Would you call it a cerulean?
Yeah,
I
I
might.
guess. Yeah.
It's
I
like
just figured out is Osedax spelled with an O? I don't have a book in front of me, so I'm having to Google it.
Yeah. OSEDAX.
which
Oh yeah,
I was
that's fine.
I was telling Eric it's like a classic Ultramarines color scheme on something cooler than the Ultramarines.
Yeah.
Does that make that warlord a sergeant?
Yes, it does.
Mm,
No, it means
I
he's
think it
honored.
makes him censured, doesn't it?
Yeah, it means he's honored as Primarch, right?
Which automatically
Well,
makes him
or
a
I
cool
guess in
kid.
heresy rules, yeah.
Yeah, which automatically makes him based as fuck.
Beast. Love it.
And then did you guys
Well,
want to talk about Metallica?
yeah, let me just pull them up real quick.
So
Fade to
of
black and
course
ride the lightning.
I was about to say the biggest boon to running a Legio Metallica is that like the fucking making the Titan names will be so easy.
Oh yeah,
for
the
me.
Titans name themselves, really.
Like
Yeah.
quite literally.
Like I don't have one yet, but like my War Master would be the thing that should not be.
Oh yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, so Legio Metallica, the Iron Skulls. They have one trait as well, the Victories Beyond Measure. Once per round, after activating a friendly Legio Metallica Titan, you may immediately activate another friendly Legio Metallica Titan, and then increase its reactor by 2. You
Good.
can't do this if there was a squadron involved.
Chain activation every turn. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, especially if you do it on some, if you can basically make yourself like a mini Venator mana or a, ad hoc Venator mana pull by, hosing down your opponent's shields with a Warhound and then activating your Warlord right away who can handle 2 heat pretty well probably and, blast him with a Bellicosa or Sun Fury or whatever.
Sounds lit.
They have one stratagem, Harmony and Order, for 1 point. Play this when you awaken the machine spirit as a result of pushing the reactor. You just turn off that machine spirit awakening. So you just put it right back to sleep. They have Legion specific war gear, the Bastion armor, which is also referred to here as reinforced armor. Weapons with the fusion trait that target a Titan will always roll a d6 no matter what, instead of a d10 at short range. And weapons with rending add 1 to the armor roll rather than d3 for each armor roll of a 6.
It's pretty good. So you basically ignore the effects of melta cannons and chain fists.
Yeah. Or demonic bile.
Right. There's other stuff that gives you fusion and rending.
Yeah. So like, and there's even upgrades for certain legios that give you fusion apocalypse missiles. So yeah, it's when you see that you think, oh, it's just chain fist and melta cannons, but it's a lot more useful than just that.
I would also argue that just ignoring melta cannons and chain fists was good enough, but
I mean that's true. I think melta cannons are a pretty ubiquitous Reaver weapon to see anyway.
Yeah. Interesting.
And talk to us. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, their last piece of war gear is the Auditory Barrage. You can take it for 10 points on any Titan. When you make an Attack with any weapon that does not have the melee trait. Any enemy knight banners within 8 inches must make a command check. If they fail, they become shaken.
Which I mean, like this whole Legio is just a fucking meme on Metallica, right? Like,
Yeah.
Harmony and Order is a little
okay, but
debatable
like,
on that front. But no,
listen,
you're right.
auditory blast or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, Auditory Barrage. You just put some fucking speakers on there. Put a guy with a guitar on the command deck.
So it's like that doof from Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
Like, I think where that kind of falls down, though, is if there's an enemy knight banner within 8 inches, it being shaken is not going to hurt it as much as if it were across the table. And it's tough to necessarily get them to fail that command check. But, I mean, it's only 10 points. It's a good option to have.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
if you know you're going into an area or playing an opponent that makes heavy use of knights, it'll more than likely pay off.
Oh, yeah, this is basically fuck Knight Households the Warrior.
I
Which,
mean, not a bad thing.
I mean,
They
knights
have
are
a pretty neat deep red and silverish metallic trim paint scheme. Little black and white stripe action in there
I
too.
mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but this seems like it's pretty much the Forge World Metallica scheme, is it not?
A little bit.
I'm sure
Yeah.
it is because I think that's where these guys come from.
Yeah.
I'm-
Well, the Forge World is more. It's more white with red accents.
Okay. I'm sure there's some admech person screaming at their computer right now.
Yeah, I mean it does say Warden Domains, Metallica, Forge World.
Yeah. Okay, they can scream into the computer. They're playing mech in the first place, so.
I mean, that is true.
So yeah,
Most-
how do you feel about Osidax and Metallica as compared to Venator?
I don't know yet. I'm gonna have to do a bit more of a deep dive on those. Like, I like all three of their paint schemes, which was a big driving point for me. I think I like the rules for Venator most, but
Well,
I think that it's probably, I don't think it's the top of the list for paint scheme. So I don't know, but it would be, admittedly, that would also be the easiest and fastest one to get on the table. So that's not insignificant given my speed at painting.
well, I mean, we can always play some test games and try them out each and see which one you like.
Oh, I mean, yeah, yeah. So I think ultimately I'm going to fall into one of those three.
What I will say is, we didn't really go into it here, but it is definitely, if you're struggling on finding a Legio to play, reading through the fluff of any potential Legios.
Yeah, I need to do that
There
as well.
are a fair bit of. There's a couple of pages for each Legio in both Loyalist and Trader books, with information on kind of background and things like that. Like, that's one of the reasons that I had picked Laniascara over Volpa initially, was the fighting giant sea monsters in undersea caves is fucking cool.
Yeah,
That is kind of true.
that's fucking cool.
And I just didn't really have the time to read through, every single Legio and get the data points on their fluff to go over here. But hey, if you've narrowed it down to three, and maybe you, the listener, have heard something you like here, and want to learn a little bit more about them, it's always good, worth looking into, and maybe that'll sway your decision some.
Or if you want us to help you pick a fucking Legio, and write in, say, here's what I got, here's what I want, and help me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if you are interested, I'll put this out here. If you are interested in picking a Legio, send us an email. I will sit with you personally, over Discord, most likely, and go through this same process, narrow it down for you, and talk about whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate your efforts on it. Like, it has been very helpful, and I know that like I was already looking at the two. Throwing Venator in there, I don't know if it's made the decision more difficult, but at least it gives me three things that I know I need to look at and compare. And talking about some of the other ones made me realize, like, yeah, the others are just not even an option in my mind.
Like one of the ones I was looking at when I was trying to figure out which one I wanted to play, because I mean, at least I figured out my paint scheme of just doing eye bleed. But one
Right.
of the legions I was looking at to try to play was Lysandra, because of course I did. And
Fucking edgelord.
yeah, and looking at the rules closer, I was like, oh, that's not really my scene at all. And even if I hadn't already picked my Ttian Legion, of course I'd be looking at Lysandra, because I've got to be fucking try hard and put fucking checkers on everything.
Right.
Fucking Lamenter's player over here.
Oh yeah. No. I've painted the Lamenters model once, and I said never again for checkers. So checkers
Yeah,
are
Really lamenting that choice.
indeed.
really the checkers weren't even that bad on the Lamenters. It was then trying to freehand Little Heart after I'd given myself horrible hand cramps from checkers.
Well, I mean, isn't the running joke in our group is that my Blood Angels are the company that become the Lamenters, even though they technically weren't even made yet?
No, I
Yeah.
don't think any of us have ever said that.
Well,
I think
so-
you said your rolls were lamentable, but I'm also
yeah, that's closer to the truth.
no, I mean that's
I don't
why.
know. After playing at his house this weekend, I think I figured out where the nexus of his problem lies.
Fucking murder shed.
It's like on an Indian burial ground or something.
I mean, it's Portsmouth. That's not entirely impossible.
it's more than likely over top of a toxic waste dump, to be honest. You're right across from the shipyard. The dioxin from the soil is making you roll piss.
It's like Roll Tide, but roll piss.
Roll piss. We should put that on a t-shirt.
I was just thinking that, like, I kind of want to make some of those car flags for Gray. It's just instead of Alabama, it's just everything's in yellow and it just is roll piss.
Yeah. Well, roll piss. I guess it's the new motto.
Roll piss. I'm telling you, if we put that can work. We can monetize here.
You know what? He might be right. The man has got an idea.
Roll
It's
piss.
worth trying.
Thanks everybody for listening to Argle Talk. Catch you on the next one. In the meantime, roll piss.
You can catch us. You can catch our merch store on Etsy.
Pissbaby.store. That's Michael Reeves' store. We can't have that one.
Gamer girl piss.
Gamer girl piss.
You guys want some real like roll piss water? We have freshly bottled gray juice.
This is it's a bottle full of the piss that we rolled.
Sell it by the liter.
just Gray's bath water.
Gray bath.
Which, conveniently enough, is gray.
Oh man.
God forbid anyone drink it. It just immediately makes their like lower extremities stop working right.
Just fucks up their neck. It's like, God, I have hemorrhoids now. What the fuck was in that gray water?
Why are my kids so loud and running everywhere?
You'll lose your driver's license and suddenly it's a CDL.
Why do I want everything bigger?
Why do I have this sudden desire to both truck and fuck?
And nothing else.
Literally nothing else.
Get a testimonial for gray water. It's like, well, since trucking and fucking is all that I craved, I lost 15 pounds.
I lost 15 pounds and 3 discs trucking and fucking.
Shit.
I love it.
Oh man.
The kind of quality content our viewers have come to enjoy and expect from us.
Come for the heresy, stay for the memes. That's what I say. Biggest meme is best meme.
Biggest meme is best meme.
Oh man.
Well, dear listener, if you want to roll piss with us, if you want us to help you pick a Titian Legion, want us to help you workshop a list, whatever you want us to help you with, or if you just want to tell us to go fuck ourselves, that's totally fine too. Drop a comment down below, or send us an email at argeltalkpodcast, ARGEL podcast. Yeah, you know what I meant. I just gotta spell Argel because nobody knows how the fuck to say that apparently. So Argel Talk podcast at gmail.com, and we'll answer you eventually. I don't know that we've gotten an email yet, other than from fucking Capital One trying to get us to monetize our fucking podcast.
Couple of cease and desists.
Oh well, I mean those go right in the spam folder. So
Yeah, we've got a whole circular file for those.
It goes right next to Ed's memes folder.
Yeah, we can't have a second Ed until the doc finally takes out our first one.
Which
Preferred
we
enemy,
will not
Ed.
allow to happen.
Ed versus Peer 2, the dockening.
But I think I'm gonna go ahead and fucking pull the plug on this fucking abortion.
Yeah, you know how Stephen King doesn't know how to end novels? We don't know how to end a fucking podcast.
Yep. So there it is. That's the end. Bye. Fuck you.
Roll pit.
Roll piss.
Yes.